Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Ardnamurchan NAS. Dustin, this bad boy comes in at 58.1% ABV. Distillery's getting a lot of hype these days.
Maybe the most hyped distillery of all time, Mike. I mean, people are absolutely raving about these guys. I'm hearing people saying they're going to be better than Springbank in 10 years.
Ardnamurchan, huh?
They are, yeah. I mean, and they're putting out a lot of whiskey, by the way. Like I can't remember the bottle count on this, but I mean, it's a big number. I mean, for a new distillery, they're putting out multiple special releases. This is their cask strength. I think this is the first one of them that they didn't put like a date and month or anything on it. I want to say it's like 90% bourbon, 10% sherry. There's just a little sherry in here.
Light whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't mind light whiskey, Dustin.
No.
Doesn't matter to me what color it is.
10% sherry, that, 10% is not going to do a lot.
No.
So, peated Highland malt, I believe. Guys, correct me down below. Again, new distillery's first bottle I've had from them. So, I guess the question here, Mike, we're going to get into more than just reviewing it is, do we think this is a distillery that's really got a future that's that bright? Let's find out.
It's a good peat. It's a good, subtle peat. At least here on the beginning.
It's an interesting nose.
There's a little bit of pepper in there. It's a peppery peat. It almost kind of reminds me of a Talisker and something.
I'm almost thinking like lemon peppered, like
lemon
like
pepper.
that stuff you put on like a pork chop or something.
Mm-hmm. Lemon pepper seasoning.
I do get a little of that sherry note. It's very subtle, but there's a hint of chocolate and like a raisin. Funky. I'm not getting a ton of peat on the nose. I mean, it's there.
Yeah, I'm not getting a ton. A little bit of citrus. I like the smoke. I said subtle, but it's a steady smoke.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like an electrical fire versus like a wood fire. I don't know if you've ever like. So when I was a kid, my dad was out of town for a weekend, and my mom came in my room and she smelled burning plastic, and she ends up calling the fire department because she's by herself, doesn't know what's going on. Fire department comes over there, and this like 6'8" fireman comes in. I mean, like literally has to duck to get in like the door. Well, I mean, this guy was tall. Walks in, and as soon as he gets in my room, smells it, looks over, and goes and grabs the lamp. And apparently a Lego had fallen on top of the lamp, was melting. That is exactly the note I'm getting here. He's like melted Lego.
And a tall fireman, huh? Dustin.
He was that dude. I mean, I say 6'7". He might have been 7 feet. That dude was literally like one of the tallest people I've ever seen.
All right.
But I was very small at the time, so grain of salt.
Yeah. Lemon pepper. It's kind of a snappy citrus.
Yeah.
Doesn't come off overly alcohol forward.
Yeah. The more I dig in here, I mean, I'm starting to pick up some sweetness on the malt. It's fine. I mean, the bourbon cask is coming through with a little bit of classic bourbon vanilla notes.
I think it's heavy on the citrus, though.
Oh, the citrus is the dominant note here for sure. I mean, it's just. I know it's young, but I'm getting nothing unpleasant here, really. I mean, even that like kind of more plasticky smoke note is not a bad thing here. It's just different. It is awfully peppery, though. I don't know if I like that.
No, you're not going to like the palate, then. Because it's cinnamon pepper and lime juice. Yeah, cinnamon, pepper, lime juice. Smoke is still there in the background. It's biting.
The spice level is high here, but it's not as almost getting like a chai tea note with the spice here, which I'm kind of interesting. Not loving it, but I gotta say, I mean, I am starting to understand kind of why people are hyping this up.
Hope,
because there is a nice sweetness to the malt. I do like I think the level of peat they've got here is really good. Should have a little more water than that. I do think they're using good casks, because I'm getting some nice notes from the casks. Awfully young. I'm thinking back to that lag we had recently. Not Lagavulin, but lag. And obviously that was heavily sherry. This one obviously just has a hint of sherry. But I think that's a better malt from what I'm getting here.
The malt's okay. Again, I think most of my complaints here are cask maturation and probably young whiskey. It's overall it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. Again, the first thing I said was kind of peppery, almost Talisker-ish as far as the smoke note to it, and I'll stay with that. It's kind of a drier pepper note to it, in my opinion. But nothing really special here. Nothing really too off-putting either. I mean, if it was something where I didn't like the spirit, it would be pretty obvious. Maybe in a while we come back to it with a better cask maturation, an older whiskey.
Water brought out some vegetal notes, which I'm kind of indifferent to, but it did bring out like a little bit of a spearmint mint note, which I usually get like on a rye or something. It's subtle. It's not rye, but I actually kind of dig that. A little bit of spearmint. Yeah, I definitely see merit in the malt. Part of me kind of wanted to just trash on this, be like, people are going crazy over this, you're being ridiculous. And I do think they're being a little ridiculous when they're saying it's going to be Springbank. It's not coming anywhere close. This is, honestly, I bet you if we had just straight up Springbank new make, it would be better than this. Mm-hmm. Mind you, I've heard from a lot of people that Springbank new make is delicious. So,
well, back to this one. I'll say I would put this on the same. I would say Springbank 10 is probably a little bit better whiskey than this, but this probably isn't 10 years old.
Agree. It's cask strength though, which should be making us more excited, and I'm enjoying it, but not too much.
Yeah, peppery peat, citrus, a little boring. I can see where there might be some stuff here. Just a twinge of, I guess, burnt beef tips kind of here at the end. Maybe a little bit on the palate go along with that smoke note.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. I'll give them that. Again, I think there's I forget the size. I mean, it's a pretty good sized batch here for being a quote unquote new distillery.
Where as far as whiskey score?
I'm gonna give it a pretty high score, Mike. I'm gonna give it an 83.
Okay.
For NAS, new whiskey, uninspired. I'm putting it over that 80 mark. And my thing is, if it's under 80,
you won't buy it.
I won't drink it.
Won't drink it. That's what's
like 80 is something like if you want to hand me a pour, I'll happily drink it. I don't know if I'm going to drink this all night, but I'll drink a glass.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine the scenario where we go back to this. I'm 82 to 84, somewhere around there. I mean, there's some sharp citrus notes to it. It's not completely off-putting, but, maybe once they have something a little bit older, something a little more exotic of a cask maturation, maybe we can see what it can do.
It kind of comes off as like a poor man's version of that 2016 Long Row NAS that I brought over when we did the verses, where it was still way too young and punchy.
It's really punchy. It's really citrus.
Whereas, so it's
acidic.
The new Long Row 18s are better, but that's where they're kind of going. Is they're not trying to be Springbank, they're trying to be Long Row, and I mean they're not actually that far off in the malt in terms of being on that level.
They got a way to go as far as cask maturation, though.
They need more aging, and I mean, I don't know if how this is going to age. That's the other question.
Yeah, that's another one too. Anyway, those are our thoughts on particular whiskey. We're not as blown away as some other people, but like with anything else, we'll keep trying.
Yeah, it's
got nothing else to do.
It's going to be a while before I go back, but when they get a 10-year, I might pick it up if it's affordable.
There's some kind of a little metallic or mineral right here at the end.
It's actually got a nice vanilla sweet for me here.
A little bathroom sink dripping on the stopper for a couple years.
Well, you ever been in no. It's more like if you ever go into a bathroom and they've got one of those little water things on the stone. It's kind of got if they were to turn it off and just let it kind of sit there. It's kind of that.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, we'd like to know what you guys think. Just until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy experimental drinking.
We'll see you then.